my channel. If you happen to be new here, my name is Jess. As you guys can tell from the title of this video, today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm not doing TBRs anymore, but I did want to sit down every 3 or 4 months and talk about all of the books that I have planned that I would like to get to in the coming months. So this is going to be my spring TBR technically. These are the top books that I have that I want to get around to as soon as possible. I've been trying to read all of the books that I have on my shelves, and it has been a never-ending thing for me, and I've been trying not to buy new books, but I do have a couple of books pre-ordered, so I do want to kind of get through the books that I already have on my shelves. So that's what I'm going to be going over today, is all the books that I do want to read in the spring/summertime. So the first book I have here is actually a gift from AJ from Book Breakdown and G from Book Gross, and it would be Children of Time. This is about a civilization of humans that are left on a dying Earth, and they actually follow their ancestors. It says on the back like ancestors maps, and they find a new planet that has been completely terraformed and is perfect for human life, but nothing is what it seems, and apparently the planet is not as inhabitable as they thought it was. The reason why I'm really excited to read this is because I'm loving sci-fi right now, and you guys know I've been trying to read a whole lot more of it, and this is the book that really piqued my interest. I've been wanting to read this since I received it, and I think this is going to be the time when I get around to it. I'm hoping to possibly read this in April, but we'll see. It is quite hefty, but I'm still really excited. It has also won the Arthur C. Clarke Award. If you guys are not familiar with Arthur C. Clarke, he is a renowned science fiction author, and I think that speaks a lot to how great of a book that this is, and I'm so thankful for them for sending this to me because it's definitely not something that I would have picked up, but I'm really glad that I have it now because it sounds really interesting and I can't wait to read it. The next book that I have here was actually sent to me from a subscriber, and it would be Solaris. This is once again a science fiction novel. This follows our main character Kelvin, who is sent to a planet to decide whether or not to shut down the research that is happening within that planet if it is not benefiting them, if the research isn't going anywhere. But when he gets there, he finds it very desolate and barren and kind of run down, and the people that are left on this station are actually hallucinating and are not themselves anymore, and I think that sounds really intriguing. It's quite a short novel as well, but when she sent this to me, she said it reminded her of something that I'd read previously, and she thinks that I would really like it, so I'm really excited to read this. It sounds super intriguing, and I like kind of like spookier science fiction novels, and I think this definitely falls in that category. And the next book I have here is actually a book that everyone speaks very, very highly about, and I only own the first one in the series, but I really want to get around to reading it, and that would be Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I have heard a ton of good things about this. I have seen a ton of videos on YouTube, and I really want to watch some of the reviews, but I'm afraid of spoilers. I think this book sounds really cool because it follows our main character Darrow, and his wife is taken from him, and I don't know if that means she dies or she is stolen, but he kind of has to go sort of undercover and become like a bad guy to be able to save her or to avenge her, whichever one applies to this story. And I'm really excited to read this because I heard this is more space opera-y, and I really am liking space operas. I believe Illuminae can be counted as one if I'm not mistaken, but if not, I'm really excited to read a space opera to begin with if I haven't read one, and I think this sounds really intriguing, and like I said, everyone has rated this so highly, so I can't wait to get around to reading it. Now the next book I have here I actually want to read purely because I really want to watch the show, and it would be Altered Carbon. I know a lot of people who've watched it who said that it's really, really cool, and the only thing I know about it is our main character is actually kind of like a bounty hunter, and he is hired by a man or an organization to actually look into a murder that has happened. Now, from what I've seen in the trailers, the murder that he is kind of like trying to figure out is actually from a man that hasn't been murdered yet. So I don't know if there's like some weird time travel stuff happening within the novel as well, but I'm really excited to read it because I can't wait to actually just sit down and binge watch the television show. Now the next book I have here is actually book 2 from a series that I've already started reading. I already have the third one pre-ordered because I absolutely love this author's writing style, and it would be God's Grave from Jay Kristoff. I have obviously read Nevernight and absolutely loved it, and I can't wait to continue with the series. I think Jay has such a stunning writing style. If you're not familiar with the series actually follows our main character Mia. Mia kind of joins a guild brotherhood, kind of an assassin's guild, and she goes through training within the first one, and the way the first one left off, I really am excited to read the second one. I'm not going to go too in depth on it if you're not familiar with the series because obviously this is the second one in the series, but I'm really looking forward to finally getting back into this world. I really like the setting for this. It always reminds me of Italy, which makes sense because I'm pretty sure that's where he got most of his inspiration for it, but I absolutely love his writing style. I love Jay. I absolutely adore him, and I'm really excited to read this book. Now this book I have here I actually got from an owl crate, and I've heard really good things about it, but I haven't really been tempted to pick it up, and I want to put it at the top of my list of books that I need to read just to see whether or not it is something that I'm going to enjoy, whether it's something that I'm going to want to keep. and that would be The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I have heard, like I said, really good things about this book, but it's not something that really piqued my interest. I know there's a lot of representation in this, and I know it's sort of about a group of friends who kind of do this like cross-country journey, and it's like a lot of fun, and it's, you know, kind of lighthearted to read, but like I said, there is obviously representation in here, so a little bit heavier content. But I'm really excited to read this because I need to know whether or not it's something that I'm going to like, whether or not it's something I should keep on my shelves, and I'm really trying to get through all of the books that I have from subscription services, so this is very, very high on the list of books that I need to read this. Now, I'm actually going to see this movie tonight, but I do also want to read the book. It would be Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I've heard really great things about this. I feel like I'm missing out, but also everyone I know that has seen the movie has said you still need to read the book because it is definitely a little bit different. But I'm really excited to not only see the movie, but read this book as well, because I like the storyline of Simon being a not so out of the closet and him meeting another boy who's also not so out of the closet, and kind of the little love story that happens within that. I think that it's a really beautiful thing that Becky has done here, because it seems like such a realistic thing that would happen, and I feel like if it had been written for heterosexual couples, it would be considered very cute, but I think because it's written the way that it is from Simon's perspective, I find it very groundbreaking. I think the fact that it is also a movie is wonderful. I think I've heard so many good stories about people who've gone and seen it with like less supportive parents or any, you know, like less supportive friends, and they've gone and seen this movie and gotten a lot more support from their family. So I think this is such a wonderful thing that Becky has done, and I cannot wait to read this book. And the next book I have here is a book that I bought a very long time ago, and I don't know how I feel about this author's writing style, but I've heard some really good things about this, and it'd be The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. I think the reason why this book appeals to me so much is it's kind of science fiction-y. It's about a planet where a lot of people, like it's like an Earth where a lot of people have extraordinary powers. They're able to, you know, teleport, and everybody sort of has a destiny chosen for them. And the reason why I like this is because it actually follows our main character Mikey, who does not have any sort of superpowers, so he's just a normal boy just trying to get through, you know, school, just, and you know, normal things that we do. And I think I really like that, because you always hear about the superhero kid, and it's like, it's not the same. So I really like the switch in that, and I think I'm really, really gonna like this. Also, it seems more of a lighthearted read, so I'm really excited to read that as well. But we will see what I think of Patrick's writing, because I did read A Monster Calls and didn't really like it, and if I'm not mistaken, that is written by him. And I know that book was so highly rated by everybody, but I didn't super enjoy it, so I'm excited to see what I'm going to think of this novel. And the next book I have here, I actually really bumped to the top of my list because Rhiannon from Crescent Moon Reads actually read this and said that she absolutely loved it. And it'd be The Librarian of Auschwitz. This follows our main character, Dita. It is based on a true story, but essentially she is sent to Auschwitz, and they smuggle in eight books, and she kind of becomes the guardian, the librarian of those books. And I think that sounds super intriguing to me. I love historical fiction. I love anything history based, and I really have an interest in World War II on the Nazi side with like concentration camps and things like that. I know it sounds kind of morbid, but I am a tiny bit weird. I just really find it very interesting, so, and heartbreaking and terrible at the same time. But I really am excited to read this book and see what I think of it. I have owned it for quite a while, and I think it's time that I finally get to it. Now, who would I be if I didn't mention Stephen King? I also need to read Sleeping Beauties by Stephen King and Owen King. This is about women who, when they sleep, they kind of are cocooned in this moth-like cocoon, and if they are disturbed, they become kind of homicidal and very like ferocious. And the reason I'm really excited to read this is not just for the storyline, although I do need to know what happens, but also because it would be the first collaborative book by Stephen King that I have ever read, and I know nothing about Owen, so I'm excited to see kind of his writing style, what he put forth in this book, because I'm so familiar with Stephen King that I'm going to kind of know what was actually Owen's writing, and I'm really excited to read this, and I've owned this for I think 3 or 4 months, and I still haven't read it, so I think it's time. Now, the next book I have here, I know nothing about, but it's high on my list because I really, like I said, want to keep in the King family, and that'd be Nosferatu by Joe Hill. This is one of Stephen King's other sons, and he obviously has his own writing career. I own 3 of Joe's books. I have only ever seen the movie Horns, and one of my very best friends absolutely loved this, so I need to get down to reading it. I know nothing about it, though. I'm trying to avoid spoilers completely for this book, so I don't really have any information for you, but like I said, I'm really excited to read this. Also, I need more horror authors that aren't Stephen King. And the last book I have here was actually a gift from That Bookish Gamer. This was one of my Christmas books, and that would be my best friend's Exorcism. This book actually follows our main characters, Abby and Gretchen, and one day in high school they decide to go skinny dipping, and the next day Gretchen starts seeming a little bit different, and Abby's trying to figure out what's going on with her friend. I'm assuming they do some sort of exorcism. I don't know a whole lot about this book, but I'm really excited to read it. Also, it's really cool because it looks sort of like a VHS, and I really, really like that. I'm really excited to read this because obviously it is spooky, but I have also heard that this book is very funny. So I think spooky and funny is going to be just what I need. Alright guys, so that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing kind of what I want to read in the springtime and sort of the beginning of summer. Like I said, I'm going to try to do this every season. I realize that monthly TBRs don't really work out for me, but I think like a 3 or 4 month period definitely seems like something that I can manage. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing. But yeah, I will see you guys hopefully on Monday's video. Bye!